Hi everyone. I know it's been it's been a long time. I don't even want to say how long it's been because I feel ashamed. But hi there. I'm coming on here to give you guys an update of what's been happening in my life and what's been going on. So yeah, I think a lot of the break came when I was going through my surgical rotations and my surgical electives. I'm not sure if you guys know. I'm going to assume that you don't because I didn't until I was here. But surgical rotations are very intense. Okay, you're basically waking up at like 4 to get to the hospital by like 5 so that you can pre-round and then round with your team for 6. Not all surgical rotations are like not all surgical rotations require you to wake up that early, but for a lot of the ones that I went through, that was the case. And especially because surgery is something that I want to do and something that I'm pursuing, I had to make sure that I was putting in my all. And yeah, so for a lot of the times, like I kind of just, it's so funny because I would start off strong with like a good routine. I was like, yeah, I got this, and then just fall off. Well, and then I fell off. And yeah, and it was a mess. So now I'm kind of coming back into it, which is funny because I'm literally coming out of like a bad cold / flu that I had. I don't know what it was, but I had it. And so yeah, so basically I'm just gonna just jump right into this and give you guys an update about what's been going on. So first of all, I just want to say that just in trying to like be consistent, I just want to give my props to all these content creators that be posting like once a week, you know, like with like nicely edited, fully edited videos talking about life and vlogging and all those things. I'm just like, wow, that's mad. Like I really tried to give you guys once a week content, and I flopped. I did, and I want to say sorry. Will I be changing? I don't know, but what I will say is that it's something that I'm going to be more aware of and more intentional about. And I think now that I'm not in my surgical rotations, I think it might be easier for me to actually give you guys like once a week things. And I love how I'm saying you guys. Like, again, I have like 4 subscribers, and the 4 that I have, thank you guys for subscribing. You know, I really appreciate you so much, and I appreciate the fact that you find this content like interesting enough to want to subscribe and listen to more. So thank you. So yeah, so jumping right into things, let's talk about what's been happening. So I think the last we left off, I was probably starting or had just started my surgical rotations. And honestly, those went, for the most part, well. There was a lot of things that I learned from, like the first surgical electives that I had, like early on in the year. I think things was like how to like go about pre-rounding, and I'm gonna break down what pre-rounding is because I'm realizing some of y'all don't know what that is. So pre-rounding. So basically, when you are on a team in a surgical rotation, and I'm sure in other rotations, but I have more experience in surgical rotation, so that's what I'm going to talk about because I don't know about anything else. But in surgical rotations, and when I say surgical, it could be plastic surgery, orthopedic surgery, OBGYN, general surgery. So you have a list of patients that you see, okay? And that list can be 5 patients, it could be 25 patients, it's just a long list. So as a team, we go and see each of those patients in the morning just to check in on them, ask them pertinent questions, give them updates about their management and their treatment, and then go from there. But before we round, it's important that we are updated on what has happened to the patient overnight, right? And make sure that we know their current vitals, their blood work, those kinds of things. So pre-rounding is literally like going into the patient's chart. Like here we have like I think this is maybe a US and a Canada thing, I don't even know, but we have like online charts with the patient's information. So typically medical students who are interested in surgery or just want to be helpful. They go into the patient's charts, they write down the vitals, they write down the blood work of each patient, and then also just like kind of just like skim over like what happened to the patient overnight, any pertinent things, and then they write that down on the list, and copy that and provide that to the resident team, to the rest of the team, and so that when the resident actually goes about and sees the patient, and the residents know this information as well, like they've done their background work, but it's just a quick summarized check for them to know what's happening with the patients before they see them, to make sure that everything's up to date, and it's just super helpful to them as well. Yeah, it's just a really helpful way to be. It's a really important way to be helpful to the team as a medical student when there's not really a lot you can do to be helpful, honestly. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about pre-rounding, but anyway, guys, I really forgot all of my train of thought. This is not good. Okay, long story short, my surgical rotations went well. I learned a lot of things about how to pre-round. I remember how to pre-round. Starting to learn how to manage my time so that I could like prep for cases. When I say prep for cases, so obviously, being on a surgery rotation, there are surgeries that happen during the week, and it's very important, very crucial that you know what is happening or what the surgery is, why we're doing the surgery, what the surgery entails, the contraindications, the indications to the surgery before going into the OR. So even though I don't know if this was spoken about, because honestly I feel like if it was as emphasized as it was, I think I would have caught on to it quicker, but honestly I really struggled with like being fully prepared for each case, because I would end the day, I'd be tired from the day, be sleeping, wake up early to go pre-round, and then I would have to make sure that I found enough time to actually study the anatomy, study the case, know what's going on, and that's life, and that's how you can be as prepared as you can be for these rotations. But honestly, like being able to do that was something that I only really got a handle of like later on in my rotations and my electives. I would say also, in addition to that, doing the same thing for clinic. I'm gonna have to break this down a bit more. Okay, so guys, I want to talk to you about what a surgical rotation entails. I was laughing because I'm laughing because it's so interesting because as I've been going through this, like this is just this is just common knowledge to me. Like at this point, I'm just like, of course, this is what a surgical rotation entails. But I'm just like, to y'all who might really just not be in the medical field at all, like you don't know what this is, like you don't know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna break it down. So a surgical rotation, or what a week in a surgical rotation looks like, is that you have a couple days of clinic days, okay? And clinic days is basically where the surgeon sees patients in the clinic, like self-explanatory. So patients, there'll be a list of patients, like I'll say somewhere between like 10 and 15. Actually, I would say average 15 patients that they see a day, maybe 15 to 20 for 15. It's a lot. But they would see a lot of patients during the day, and it could be like just the afternoon from like 12 to like 5, or in the morning from like 8 to 12, and from the other half of the afternoon doing like scopes. So whether that's scope down the mouth, called either an gastroscopy or an endoscopy, or a esophago-gastroduodenoscopy, which is an EGD, which is just from the mouth all the way to the stomach. Anyway, or a scope up the butt, which is a colonoscopy, which I'm sure like y'all probably are familiar with, maybe. So basically, yes, there's a couple of days of clinic days mixed in with like scoping half days, and then a couple of days of or a few more days of surgeries, right? And they would have somewhere between like 3 to 4 cases for the day. And then also there'll be days where you're on call during that week. So after starting the day at 5 a.m. or 6, ending the day at like 4, you would stay on and officially start call at 5 p.m. I know I put that in inverted commas. You would actually start at 5 p.m. And then depending on whether, you know, you are on call until 11 p.m. or until the next day, you'd stay until then, hand over, finish off like any like pending tasks, and then go home. You know, I probably, like, if I was on call overnight, I usually would be home by 10 a.m. Okay, so that's what a week in surgery looks like. Okay, so yeah, long story short, I think my surgical rotations went well. I got good feedback, good evaluations for most of them. There were a couple at the end where honestly I did not give it my best that I could have. And I think I was really just getting tired, drained at the end of it. And not that that's an excuse to not have been prepared. But yeah, I think I was really just struggling at that point. And that's okay. So yeah, but overall it did go well, and it affirmed my love for surgery. So this leads me to talking about my residency application. So something significant that happened since speaking to you guys last is that I've submitted my application for residency. So Canadians have a residency matching system called CARMS. It's actually called the Canadian Residency Matching System, and matching basically means that we as students are matched into our programs. So there are different terms that we use in medicine to kind of describe like the different locations, the different specialties, and the different like specialties in the locations that we are applying to. So the specialties that you're applying to are called disciplines, right? So those are things like emergency medicine, those are things like family medicine, those are things that are like, you know, orthopedic surgery, those kind of things. Those are disciplines, specialties. And then we have programs. So programs are basically specialty schools that you apply to train in, right? So there's usually like I would say about 15 across Canada, depending on the program, obviously. And I'll definitely say like at least like one per province, apart from like the northern provinces, but usually one per province. So those would be things like the University of Toronto, like orthopedic surgery program, or the University of Toronto emergency medicine program. So those are programs. I just realized that I probably should have used like different schools. So for orthopedic surgery specialty, you would have University of Toronto orthopedic surgery program, and then you would have University of Ottawa orthopedic surgery program, right? So those are programs. So when we apply to residency, depending on the specialty or the discipline that we have found that we like and we are drawn to, we may be applying to one discipline, 2 disciplines, 3 disciplines, or specialties across multiple programs, depending on where we feel we would be okay living, right? So if I was, for example, interested in family medicine and emergency medicine, and I was only interested in applying to like Ontario schools, I would be applying to emergency medicine and family medicine in different universities in Ontario. So University of Toronto, McMaster University, Queen's University. I would be applying to both orthopedic and emergency medicine across those programs. Okay, hopefully that made sense. I'm hoping that this is making sense. Anyway, so yeah, so I only applied to one specialty or discipline, and I applied across like several programs. I will keep you guys updated on what I applied to and where I applied to, like I think at the end of this process. But yeah, and I just want to talk about just what I went through during that process. Woo. So Honestly, it was so interesting because honestly, truly, guys, and speaking as a Christian, I've been asking God very plainly, like, what do you want me to do? Like, where do you want me to be? Because I've learned in my walk with God for the past 4 years, that I do not want to be anywhere that doesn't align with God's will, right? Because where God's will is where his provision is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when he's called you to something, he will equip you for that thing he's called you to. Like, he will give you and has given you everything that you need to be able to succeed in that calling, right? And things, when we decide to operate out of God's will, like, obviously God will still meet us there. Like, he's a kind God. He's not going to be like, well, you chose to not follow my will, that's it. It's just that things will be harder for you unnecessarily. And I'm a soft girl, okay? I want to be, I want to live a life that aligns with God's will, so that I am of full confidence that I am here because God has placed me here. And when you have that confidence that God has placed you here, no one can tell you anything. Like, no one can tell you anything that you don't belong here, because God, who knows all, the Alpha and the Omega, put you here. So, bro, don't come at me. Don't even come at God. Like, don't come at God. I mean, you can try. You're not going to succeed. But basically, that's why I was so adamant about, like, God, tell me what you want me to do. Like, what program, like, what discipline, what specialty are you calling me to? Just let me know, you know. And through this journey, it was made very clear to me, not just by, like, the conviction I felt from God, but also because of just, like, my general interest and, like, the person that I am. Like, I really felt drawn towards a specific specialty. And it's a surgical specialty. And honestly, I think it's so interesting. I don't think I was planning on getting into this, to be honest. And I think I'm just going to end it here because there's a lot to talk about and I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information. But as a Black woman, as a young Black woman, as a single young Black woman, as a single young Christian Black woman, there are there are multiple things that are going through my head in terms of the kind of specialty I want to apply to and the kind of doctor that I want to be. So coming into medical school, I came in super burnt out from my master's. I think I spoke about this in a previous video. And I was just like, I'm just looking for a work-life balance. I just want balance. I want to be able to enjoy top life, see my friends, see my family, travel, do all these wonderful things, and also still feel fulfilled in my job. And, you know, hearing the horror stories about surgical specialties, I was like, I know surgery is not for me. I'm literally crossing that out. I know. And going through and you know, going through my medical school journey, I realized very quickly that I'm someone who likes to be very hands-on. I'm someone who likes to actually tangibly see the problem, like, and, you know, literally take it out and see, like, immediate benefits, immediate effects on quality of life. But I'm also someone who really enjoys the process of, like, understanding medicine, applying that medicine, and using the knowledge that I have and the skills and the technical skills that I have to help people feel better. Like, that's what I wanted to do. And so I realized very quickly that it would be surgery. And so being someone that aspires to, you know, be married one day, have 4 kids by the grace of God, pour into my community, my family, my friends, my church, also still top life, you know, travel, you know, be able to sleep. I love sleep. And just, like, generally just really truly enjoy all that life has to offer in multiple aspects. I just didn't see how surgery was going to be that thing for me. I was like, how am I going to do these things that I want to do and also be a surgeon? And yeah, and I want to be the type of mom that's, like, at, like, every, like, school game performance, like, you know, picking up my kids from school, dropping them at school, you know, being there when they come home. And obviously, like, going into the surgical specialty that I'm going into by the grace of God, there's a lot of things that I'm going to have to sacrifice and a lot of things that I'm not going to be able to be there for my kids, which literally makes me sad. But I literally had to balance feeling fulfilled, and also going according to what I felt God was convicting me to, and trusting that even though I might not be able to be there for every single game or performance, that like I will still be there enough for my kids to know me, my kids to feel loved by me, my kids to be raised by me, while like, you know, doing a fulfilling career. So yeah, I think like there was just like a lot of struggle, a lot of tension that came into finally accepting that this was my calling. And I honestly, guys, I would kid you, I would be lying to you if I said that I'm still not having to fight some of that tension. And I think where God led me to was the story of Jonah. And it's just so interesting because Jonah and I resonate with Jonah in the sense of like, I really feel like God is calling me to this place. But I'm just like, what are you sure about this place? Because it's kind of ghetto. And not just ghetto in the sense of like the work-life balance is not giving, especially during like training and residency. But also because like just medicine as a whole, but definitely in surgical specialties, there's definitely a minimal Christian presence. So a lot of the times, like, you're not gonna be talking about Jesus, bro, with other people. And so I was like, well, why can't I just not be called to the pulpit? You know, be a pastor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally my job to talk about you, and I love talking about you. Like, I do. So, and I see like all these Christian influencers on social media, guys, and they have time. They have time, and let me rephrase that. They have time to fully invest into influencing, like online. Being a surgical Christian influencer, bro, there's barely enough time. Even being a medical student, bro, like, and I know you guys have been seeing Christian medical students or Christian surgical gunners on the internet, and they are producing consistent content. That is not me. I think we need to establish that my goal is to be consistent for sure, but it's a work in progress. Okay, I want to try my best. It's a work in progress. I think what you'll get from me, my goal is to give you guys quality, even though it might not be quantity. You get me? Anyway, this is not the point. So I digress again. I keep digressing, but coming back to my points, there was a lot of things that I was fighting and really just like fighting with God about, to be honest. And I'm just like, God, like, okay, I know you're calling me to this place, cool, but you know that I want to have 4 kids. I want to be a present mom and a wife. So I just don't understand, you know, that this 2 + 2 is not equaling 4, Jesus. So I really was struggling with that, and then also struggling with the fact that, okay, I feel like God is calling me to be a minister. And when I say minister, I believe that God calls all his children to be ministers, like in whatever place that, you know, he places you in. So I feel like God is calling me to be a minister of faith, like in surgical fields. And it's just not, it's not going to be easy. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be easy. So I felt like Jonah, and I felt like running away. And I think sometimes I still kind of run away. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I didn't realize that I was a runner, guys, until I spoke to my therapist. But anyway, so yeah, and I think I'm still slowly coming to terms with it. I think I kind of went through a crisis applying to this surgical specialty, because I was just like, God, like, this is scary. Like, I literally am applying for a grueling 5 years of my life. Like, so yeah, I've been, sorry guys, I've really been struggling with that. And I think my mental health also took a dive because of that. And I really, guys, I kid you not, I sunk into a depression. I really sunk into a depression. Like, I literally wanted to die. And it's hard to talk about. Because I'm just like, how dare I, as a Christian, say that I want to die? But I wanted to die. I really did. You know, and I had to take some time off of school to like actually work on my applications, and also deal with the fact that I was going through depression while I was working on my applications. And then I actually got sick. Like, let me rephrase that. I got physically sick with a cold that took me out for about a week, almost a week. And so I'll be returning back to rotation tomorrow. But yeah, I think that's been the updates. I think, and I wish I could just kind of tie this up in a neat bow and say, yeah guys, everything's fine now, I'm okay, all is good, all is well, but I'm still struggling. And I will not be struggling forever by the grace of God and in the name of Jesus. But I think like as more time has gone by and as I've been struggling with this more, I feel like I've been struggling more to hear God's voice and God's like pulling and leading and like pushing, you know, just like that tugging in your spirit to like go in a certain direction. And I've been feeling very directionless, to be honest. Like I'm not fully settled with the idea of doing the residency training in the specialty that I'm applying to, which is scary because it's the only specialty that I apply to. I'm also not fully convinced that I belong in medicine. Like I really am not your generic medical student, guys. And you can probably tell by my channel, I really am not. I really sometimes look at myself and say, God, like, am I the one? But I'm going through the motions, and I'm still praying to get interviews, because after you apply, you get interviews for the programs that have said, okay, we like your application, we want to get to know you more. And then after interviews, you choose the programs, you rank the programs that you prefer. And then the programs rank you, and then the matching system basically matches you according to the programs that you ranked as your top choice, as long as they've also ranked you at a relatively as their top choice. So it's definitely student preference based. But if you rank a program as like number 1 and they rank you as number 15, and the 15 other students that they ranked also ranked that program as like number 1, you're not getting matched into that program. So yeah, it's kind of hard in that way, because it's just like you really just don't really know. Like there's so much chance and luck that goes into these things. I say that in inverted commas because I believe in a God that can do anything, and if he opens the door, he opens the door. And so whether or not I get into a program isn't based on luck, it's based on God's will, period. But yeah, guys, so it's kind of a sad vlog. I can't even lie. Like, not a vlog. Sorry, this is a sad video. You can't call this a vlog because I just been speaking to you guys. It's kind of sad because I don't really know what I'm doing. And I don't know if I'm looking forward to the future that I have applied to have. You know, I am still worried about, like, being able to cultivate a relationship, you know, at some point. When God decides to bless me with one, I'm afraid of being able to pour into my family and my friends. I'm afraid of not being able to pour into my family and friends. I'm afraid of not being able to take care of myself, like my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health. If I get into this specialty, into the programs that I'm applying to. And I think I'm just wondering why. I currently have just been finding myself like in a pit like Joseph and wondering when I will be taken out. But also it's hard because I can foresee that at least for the next 5 years, it's going to be hard, you know? So it's not like it's going to be like, you know, at the end, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, because that light is at least 5 years out. So anyway, guys, I wish I had something more fulfilling or uplifting. I don't, but I will end off by saying that I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be living in a house with my family. I'm grateful to have a good relationship with my family, because a lot of people have that. I'm grateful to be, you know, learning and growing. I'm grateful to be serving a God that loves me, even though I might not feel that way right now. And yeah, I'm grateful to be, for the most part, healthy, you know, apart from this cold that I'm getting over and the mental health issues that I'm dealing with. But yeah, guys, that's the update. So yeah, I hope you know, y'all not too mad because I took so long to update you guys. But yeah, that's me. Until next time.